All right, you guys. So I don't know how many of you have been keeping up with Queenie Azoulay, but ever since his separation, he recently announced that him and his wife are separating. But ever since that, he has just gone completely off the rails. He's made a series of videos recently posted to his Instagram page, and each one of them just gets worse and worse. So in this first video, he's basically whining, bitching, and moaning about how unfair the world is to PDFs, basically, and how the age of consent it's just such a tricky thing, you know? It's so confusing and it's so unfair that there's just like all these different ages in different parts of the world. But if you really think about it, this is not something normal men have to worry about. I've traveled with men in the past and I have never heard them question, not once. Before we go, I need to know what the age of consent is there because, you know, this is just such a tricky, confusing thing and I don't want to get hemmed up. It's just not a normal thing to really worry about. So let's just take a listen, and I always have to explain this when I make an Azoulay video because I want you to know what's going on here. I don't want anybody to be lost on the fact that when King Azoulay was 18 years old, he gang a 15-year-old girl with his brother and his best friend, and he keeps trying to deny this, make up excuses, and he's made several videos about this. Each one, it just gets worse and worse. It changes. The story's always changing, and that's no different in these videos. We're gonna watch them in just a second. So there's two different cases, right? There's the civil case and there's the criminal case. He pled guilty to the criminal case, and the civil case was dismissed because she didn't show up, okay? And I can imagine that after hearing, you know, he pled guilty, he's going to be going away to prison or jail or whatever. I could imagine her saying, okay, this has been so traumatic. I don't want to have to go through this all over again and go to court and see his ugly mug ever again. And obviously now he keeps trying to say that, you know, they were just after $5 million. Well, if that were true, don't you think they would have forced their daughter to show up for the civil trial? Hello? But anyways, nonetheless, let's listen to this video where he's explaining that he just got a BJ by a 16-year-old girl, no big deal, even though that's a lie within itself. The girl was 15. But I want you to keep an ear out and just listen to how nonchalant he is about this whole thing. And in fact, no joke, he even says if he had the opportunity, he would do it all over again. He has no regrets, right? Dude, I swear, anything to promote the idea of kids. Okay, so I just kind of want to play this the whole way through. I don't want to pause for my commentary, but don't worry, I'm going to recap my thoughts about all of this once he's finished.
A child, a offender, a pedophile. That's what a lot of these people are coming onto my comments and calling me. If I was any of those things, I'd be on the offender list, but clearly I'm not. Well, let's clear that up really quick. I have a little guy named Johnny Bravo who brought out a civil lawsuit that went against me and a bunch of other people who were at my birthday party 20 years ago. I was 18, we had a great time, and I don't regret a second of it. My brother was a 14-year-old boy. I got jobs for multiple girls, just to make sure we're clear. Yeah, I was a G. Now, my brother who was 14, also some of the girls played with him, but my parents never pressed charges against anybody because we were just having fun. But there was a family of a girl that came there, and they were adamant about making money. So that civil lawsuit was a $50 million lawsuit trying to claim that I their daughter, which never happened. And that's why that case was dismissed, as you could see here. And because of their lies, they didn't get a penny. Usually there'll be some judgment, there'll be a settlement, but no, it was dismissed. No $51 million and no bull. So for everybody on the internet that is claiming all this bullshit that happened to me, some lawsuit from 20 years ago, guess what? I only got charged in the actual criminal case for getting a job from someone who was under 18 because I didn't ask for her fucking ID. And when the cops came, I said, hey, I got a job from all these girls. What's the problem? We had a great time. And they go, well, she was underage. So with that being said, for everybody on the internet that wants to keep crying about it, guess what? You're not improving your life. My life is great. I'm worth over $100 million. I drive a fucking Rolls Royce and a Lambo. I live in a $12 million home. I have 100 different properties. I'm flying private jets. What are you doing? Well, if you're not doing anything with your life, it's time for you to change that, because what I did in my past shouldn't be that important to you. Now let me remind you that if I went back there again, I would go over it again and again and again. And I'll tell you why. Because there's nothing better than being an 18-year-old getting a job from 3 different at the same time. Now fuck out of here. Let's have some fun.
Wow. Okay. So I thought he was claiming that the family was suing him for $5 million. Apparently it's 50 million. But anyways, let's address his points. So first he says there's a reason why I'm not on the sex offender registry. Well, that is because he took a plea deal. I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I know that once you take a deal, they may come to you and say, if you plead guilty to this, because he ended up pleading guilty to oral copulation of a minor instead of grape, right? I can imagine that they'd be like, okay, well, then you won't be put on the sex offender registry. But that still doesn't mean that he didn't commit this crime. Guys, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but when the 15-year-old that he raped, when she arrived to the hospital, she not only had bruises and bite marks all over her body, but she also had vaginal and anal tearing. And this is not just like hearsay or her word. This report is coming from medical professionals, doctors, nurses, everyone who was at the hospital who examined her. So I can imagine that when he took his deal, that might have been something that was in there. He wouldn't be put on the registry. Number two, he claims that he got jobs from multiple girls. I think he stated 3 in total, and that it was his 18th birthday. But previously, like I said, he's made multiple videos about this whole situation. He stated that he was the only person at that party that was over the age of 18. So if we are thinking logically here,
think with logic.
That means that everyone at that party were minors and he was the only adult. That, in my opinion, makes the situation way worse. I don't know why he talks about this like it's just, no big deal. Like when he talks about what he told the cop, like, oh, I got a BJ from all these girls, officer. What's the big deal? Like, is he okay? Are you that stupid, dude? Do you not see what is wrong here? Do you not understand that it is illegal to get from underage children? Do you not understand that? This doesn't do him any favors, but that's the thing with Azoulay. The more he runs his mouth, the bigger hole he digs himself in. He's so dumb. He's so idiotic. He's so stupid. He doesn't know when to shut his fucking trap. And every time he talks, he just makes everything so much worse. And another thing that I have a major problem with is the fact that he is using this video of him explaining how he raped a 15-year-old girl and actually talking about 2 others that he did inappropriate things with as well. But he is using this video to promote his business and talk about how he's so rich. He's driving a Lambo. He's flying in private jets. And what the hell are you doing? Let's get you back on track. Why are you worried about my life? It's just crazy. At the end, it started to feel like some sort of promotional video for his business. Like, what are you doing, dude? And lastly, the fact that he has the audacity to say, if I were to go back there and have the chance to do it again, I'd do it again and again and again. Like, dude, just stop. Just shut the fuck up. At this point, you need to zip tie your mouth or something because you don't know when to shut the fuck up, dude. I don't know why. It almost seems like public, like you have some sort of fetish or something. Like you get off on this because there's no way in hell any normal person would be talking about stuff like this. Legitimately, there has to be something wrong with him. I just cannot believe. I think he says, what I did in my past shouldn't be important to you. Yeah, guys, I gang a 15-year-old virgin, but why do you care? It's none of your business. Why do you give a shit? I mean, yes, I'm still, hanging around schools, hanging around your children. I'm still doing meet and greets with your kids. I'm still talking to your children in the DMs as I've shown on my page, but why do you care? I just find it so odd that a guy like this, who has been convicted of the crime that he has this weird obsession with little kids. What is it with you and children? Why do you insist on going to schools and speaking to children? And don't tell me it's because, oh, they're our future. Like, I want to help shape the future. Because all you really fucking do is spread your bullshit ass knowledge that you've literally read from these stupid ass self-help books and say, oh, Auli, you're a nice guy. How the hell is that helping the youth? You need to stay out of schools, period. Okay, so now he's going on his IG rant about how he's basically the prophet, right? He's like the Messiah, all right? And that when he gets to heaven, God is going to thank him and say, thank you, son. I know you sacrificed so much. You even broke your vows, the vows that you promised your wife in the church in front of me, like the whole to death do us part thing. I know you broke that, but it was for your mission. Thank you, son. Thank you for doing the complete opposite of what you preach about, staying with one woman, but here you are bragging about getting a BJ from 3 women, even after you and your wife were wearing each other's blood in a necklace? Thank you for breaking your vows of holy matrimony to follow your mission of getting made fun of on the internet.
You see here is a syringe with the blood that she drew out of my body. What you see here is a syringe with her blood that I drew from her body. We're going to put it in a necklace, and then we're going to give the necklace and gift it to one another. So I will wear her blood and she wears mine. That's what real true love is about.
I can't, dude.
Look, I'll tell you this. Women are the most beautiful, the most amazing, and the most powerful creatures that God has created. And we can't live life without women. We can't. But for the time being, I needed to be alone. And the reason I needed to be alone is because women are so powerful that they'll either make you or break you. And a wife took all of my attention because I loved her more than I loved myself. So I knew I wouldn't be able to go on my mission. I would end up being like a lot of men who are just sitting at home, hanging out with their wives, Netflix and chilling, and letting go of their mission.
Dude, that seems like a you problem. It seems like you don't know how to schedule your day if you're giving all of your attention to your wife. Should your wife have priority? Yes. But do you think men who are married give their wives 100% of their attention? You don't think they go to work and have their own missions? You don't think they're doing shit like going to the gym or whatever the hell, dude? You think they're giving their wives 100% of their attention? It seems like you are the one who's so weak and pathetic that you don't know how to focus on more than one thing.
But I know when I die, God is going to look at me and he's going to say, son, for the mission that I sent you on, you sacrificed so much that you are now welcome into heaven and you no longer will go back to hell. Because I believe that we're in hell. That's the truth.
Yeah, we're in hell because there's people like you down here.
And with that being said, there's a lot of great women out there and there's a lot of bad women out there. Women will make you or women will break you. So you have to pick the right woman. And I see a lot of guys complaining that the women out there are shit. And it's not true.
Dude, this guy is constantly complaining about how women are gold diggers. Women just want you for the wrong reasons. Women just want money. Women this, women that. Women are whores, blah, 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 all this stuff. He complains about women more than anyone else. And here he is saying like, oh, all these people are complaining about women. Yeah, you, bitch. You.
The places you go to are shit. There's great women in great places. And the next woman that will be next to me, that will be my wife. That will be the mother of my children. I want to have 12 children so I could have the 12 tribes of Israel again.
You're not even allowed to see the child that you do have. You're forbidden from seeing your child now. Why are you going to have 12 more? Why don't you try to get custody or at least partial custody of the child that already exists? Why bring more children into this fucked up situation that you're in?
And it takes a very, very special woman of God to want to have that many children, to want to have a husband, to want to live traditionally with the right values so we can have a long-lasting relationship and not get divorced. The next woman I marry will be the woman that I will die with. That's it.
Okay, so the question that's in the Ask Me Anything box is, why are people calling you a PDF? Let's hear what he says.
Well, people just want to be cruel, right? I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli, I'm an alpha male. They're coming after me for that. But about 9 months ago, there was a guy who released a story about what happened to me 20 years ago on my 18th birthday. I had a bunch of people over. 3 girls came over, 3 friends. One of them was barely 16. I got a BJ from all 3 of them.
No, she was 15.
And ended up, I didn't know she was under the age of 18. And it was my 18th birthday. So I got screwed for that. I went to jail for a few weeks, got released. Got a charge called oral copulation with a minor, which means you got a BJ from someone who was underage. Not forcingly or any of that. But her parents was trying to sue me, my family, her friend's family, everybody for $51 million. That's what really happened. The lawsuit got dismissed. I just posted about it because false accusations. The parents said she got raped, but she didn't. And that's the truth. You guys could go online and see.
Actually, you know what you can go online and see on Instagram? Instagram even knows because under his photo, it says community note written by an Instagram user. This man has a documented 2008 California conviction following a guilty plea in a case involving forced crimes with a minor. Publicly referenced court documents indicate that the case resulted in a criminal conviction, and viewers should consider this context when interpreting his online content. So that's what you could see online. And in fact, you would be able to see the details of this case, but it's been sealed. And the only person who can unseal these documents is Queen Azoulay himself. So why hasn't he done that? Why won't you show anybody what's in the documents if you're so innocent and you're adamant about proving that to everyone? Why won't you show us? Personally, I think there's a reason why he's hiding this, because an innocent person wouldn't be afraid to show the details of a case if there was nothing to hide. It's just common sense. But anyways, let's get back to this. Let's hear what he has to say. The question he's answering here is, well, I guess it's not a question. It says, no question, just saying that you're a great sensitive guy. I'll make my boyfriend follow you. And here's the problem, because now he has all these children. I guarantee you this is a kid, right? Because there's no adult that would speak this way. But he has been on like this world tour at high schools, speaking to kids, doing meet and greets, all this stuff. Like I said, he's obsessed with children, which is extremely suspicious in my opinion. But his content is geared towards kids because obviously adults know about this guy. He can't fool us basically at this point. But children don't really know, right? They are, and even if they do know, they don't really know the details. Some parents don't really want to share things like that. And some parents just don't know that their kids are watching his content. So I feel like he purposefully gears his content towards children with those stupid childish ass jokes like, oh, Auli, you're a nice guy, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? Hanging out with young kids like Clavicular and just a lot of content creators that children follow. So that's a problem for me. That's a problem that he purposefully is creating content for kids, and now there are a bunch of kids following him because of his conviction. Like I've said in previous videos, I don't think people with certain crimes should be allowed to have a platform, or at least there should be something, you know, like some sort of warning like I just read to you a second ago. But especially when those crimes are involving kids, if they have crimes against children, I don't think they should then be allowed to make content geared towards children. Like, hello?
I'm happy to hear that, and I'm sure your boyfriend is cool also. And guys, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be here to motivate you, to help you achieve your dreams. I wish I had somebody like me that I could watch every single day and see him, you know, get in the ice, get in the gym, eating healthy food, traveling, doing business, working hard, a man of God, a man that loves his family.
You wish you had a PDF when you were little to look up to that was doing ice baths and breaking drywall and going to the gym and doing whatever the hell else you do. You wish you had a PDF doing all those things to look up to. I don't think we need children looking up to you. I think you need to like set that aside and move on. I don't think children should be looking up to this guy whatsoever. I think it's actually very dangerous.
I wish I had somebody like that I could see to look up to. But when I was growing up, we didn't have those people. So I'm glad you guys are here on my channel. I love you all. Thank you for the support. Believe me, I wish sometimes I could just come and give everyone one big hug.
No.
And I've been wanting to do a meetup for a long time. I just haven't done it because weird people like threaten my life. Oh, you're Israeli, we're coming to take you out.
No, it's not because you're Israeli. Nobody gives a shit about your religion. It's because you're a PDF. That's what people care about. Nobody cares. Like, people like this think they're so special. Oh, it's because I'm Israeli. Oh, it's because of this. It's because of that. Nobody cares. It's just a cope, okay? He thinks people don't like him because he's Jewish. Nobody gives a shit. People hate you because you're a PDF. Nobody gives a shit about your religion, Ben.
So I just received a message from a guy from Italy who said the age of consent here, bro, is 14. So I had to look it up. Now, don't get any ideas, guys. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not fair that the law of the land is different in every place around the world, especially for men, because men get screwed for that. Imagine that guy coming to California and the age of consent is 18 and he's dating a 17-year-old.
Men get screwed for that. Oh, who cares about the underage girls who get raped? It's the men. It's the men who get screwed over. It's not the girls, the underage girls who have to live with that for the rest of their lives. Some old nasty ass guy touching up on them, hitting on them, harassing them, not leaving them alone. It's the men. And mind you, like, what kind of normal person has to think about stuff like this? Has to worry about the age of consent in different regions? Have you ever heard such a thing?
Or he comes to Michigan and the age of consent is 16. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fair for him because he knows the age of consent is 14. In the Middle East, the age of consent goes by religion. So it's really not fair for men. There should be one age of consent internationally. If it's 18, fine. You want to make it 30, that's also fine. But why should men get screwed by where they go?
Or how about just don't fuck with kids? How about that? How about if they look like kids, leave them alone? And then you don't even have to worry about it. And I understand, I'm not giving him any grace here, but I understand he was 18 years old when this happened. But he's talking about older men and like the age of consent and how it's not fair if a man comes to Michigan and the age of consent, whatever. But he mentioned 14, okay? A man who is in his 30s or 40s doesn't even have to worry about that because it's pretty easy to distinguish between a 14-year-old and even a girl who's like in her late 20s. Have you seen 14-year-olds? It's pretty easy to tell that they're children. They're 14. So a man in his 30s shouldn't even be attracted to a 14-year-old in the first place. Like this guy, it just like it amazes me the shit that comes out of his mouth, saying like this is some sort of unfairness, like an injustice to men, right? Like this is an injustice that there's so many like different ages of consent that you need to have a list at this point. You can't travel without your list because then you can be committing a crime. This is not something that normal men need to worry about whatsoever. I've never heard this being an issue, except for with him, of course. But anyways, you guys, that's what's going on with him. I mean, there are just so many. He's been on a rampage with these videos, and I don't know what it is. A lot of people are saying that, he's been going off the rails because of his wife. I don't think that's it. I think that now that he's separated from his wife, I think he feels a lot more freedom and a lot more freedom to speak his mind about what he thinks about dating and women and all of this stuff, right? He used to talk about it a little bit here and there, but he would more so talk about how men should be with one woman, they shouldn't date around, they shouldn't sleep around, whatever. But now he's been talking a lot more about young women, dating virgins, dating women who are untouched. It's very weird. So I think that now that he is separating, I think that we're going to get a lot more nasty content from him, a lot more of him speaking his mind because he has the freedom to do so. He doesn't have somebody at home that's going to be like, why did you say that? That's so weird. I do feel like maybe his wife was the one that was putting him in check a little bit and maybe getting mad about certain things that were posted. And that's why perhaps he was like, oh, this is getting in the way of my mission because I can't fully speak my mind. I can't fully say the things I want to say because then my wife will get mad. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what more he starts posting and he starts talking about because I do think there's going to be a lot more coming. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.